like, yeah, this show about an assassin, a spy, and a psychic all living together, it's a comedy and it's super wholesome. They'd be like, and it's an anime? It's not edgy? Are you sure it's not edgy?
Are you sure we're talking about the same thing here?
Yeah, no, that sounds that sounds like the perfect recipe for like a battle shonen type of situation.
Going on, yeah. Yo, what's up, everybody? What's going on? Welcome back to the Gurren Otaku Council podcast. As always, I'm your host, Ace.
And I'm your host, McMillian.
And we are back for another week of beautiful anime. But as always, if you would like to become a council member and join me and McMillian as we discuss all things anime and sometimes manga, then make sure you hit that like and subscribe button as well as follow us on our social media so you can stay up to date on all things about the council. And with that being said, the council is now in session. Let the meeting begin. I really hope you forget about that.
Never.
Oh my gosh. Well, hello. Good morning, good evening, good night, whatever time you're watching this, everybody. Welcome back to the council. Thank you guys for joining today's meeting. How you doing today, McMillian?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing good myself. Got a new mic this week, so that was yay. But then I also broke my headphones this week as well. Actually, both of these things happened on the same day, so it's kind of crazy.
That is definitely wild. Yeah,
it's wild. So now I gotta see how long I can put up with my backup headphones before I decide to shell out some more money for another new pair of headphones.
Yeah,
and yeah, so that's what I'm working with now. But let's go ahead and hop into some council announcements. And for our first council announcement here, everybody, is actually a very important one. So due to our friend McMillian here actually moving, we're going to be going through a slight schedule change here at the Gurren Otaku Council podcast. We won't be releasing an episode weekly like we've been doing unless some miracle happens. We can line up these special episodes. Unless that happens, our scheduled release will be more of a bi-weekly scheduled release here going forward until McMillian here finishes his move. So yeah, just wanted to let you guys know about that. But I said,
I was just gonna say, expect maybe sometime in August for us to get back to our normal schedule. I do apologize for, because it is me again. But yeah, it's gonna be a slight delay in us reviewing animes along with their season. We might hit a special here or two. A special or two here or there. But yeah, so just try to keep our eye on our social media, because we'll get back to our regular schedule eventually. But it's gonna be a minute.
Correct, and also unless I can just pull something out, out my head as well while McMillian is going through this move, that can also just alleviate the schedule change a little bit. Who knows what I can come up with this during this time. We'll see what I can do. But just want to let you guys know that yes, there will be a slight schedule change until, like you said, around the time of August, where we get back to a weekly release. But moving on from there, our second anime news episode is live now currently. So if you've not yet had a chance to go watch that, please do so. Some of the major topics we talk about is the part 2 of the Chainsaw manga, as well as another new Netflix anime called Moonrise, and the Avatar Studios movies that they're coming out with as well. So definitely go check that out as well if you have not yet had a chance to do so. And then last but not least, I just wanted to talk about this because if you've been here watching the podcast recently, our last few specials have been Netflix animes. And so I just want to go ahead and make this official. We will be doing a Netflix anime series review, basically, that we're going to be doing. We talked about it. We're going to be doing it on a bi-weekly release schedule along with our regular weekly release schedule. So of course, obviously once we get back to our regular schedule of release, the Netflix series, whether it be a anime movie review or a Netflix anime series review, those will be coming out on a bi-weekly release schedule. So definitely be looking out to those every 2 weeks.
Yep.
And with that being said, that is the end of our council announcements here. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into our first anime review we have here for today. Starting off with Spy Family, the finale actually of Spy Family episode 12, or as I like to call it, Anju gets reincarnated as an assassin who's also a wife.
I was wondering if you were going to remember to do that.
Can't forget it. Got to remember for the finale. So we're just going to talk about some of the major plot points here for episode 12. Starting off with our boy Lloyd here is one tired motherfucker because
yeah, definitely. Before we go further, the episode title is Penguin Park.
Thank you.
Let me not forget to do that.
Thank you.
But yeah, Lloyd is getting overworked and possibly underpaid. I'm not sure.
Who knows?
Who knows?
He did not specify he was getting paid extra doing these extra missions on top of Operation Strix. He did not specify that.
No, but so, the boy,
who knows?
The man looks like death. That's all I know. So what we open up on, because apparently on top of Operation Strix, he's been having to go out and do missions, and he says due to the fact of like the agency not having as many people to send anymore, like because they're kind of stretched in with the whole threat of war happening. So
yeah, so he's dealing with that. And unfortunately, during his time while he's taking on these extra missions and stuff like that, his neighbors are starting to suspect that he is cheating and that he is not being a good father to both his husband and as well as a father to his family. Mm-hmm. And so to kind of elevate on both charges.
On both charges.
So to kind of alleviate that suspicion, if you will, he decided to go on another outing, as Anya likes to say. And they're gonna go to the aquarium this time. I actually like going to the aquarium. I think it's a nice calming time to go do, and it's also fun to look at all the different fishes and other aquatic animals, if you will, or species, not animals, aquatic species that is out in the world. Because I always learn something new when I go to an aquarium. So that's one of my favorite things I like to do when I go on vacation.
Yeah, I also like the events that aquariums normally have too, because like you sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, we just discovered this marine animal," and I'm like, God, they dropping new animals like every month.
Dropping new animals every time I go to the aquarium.
So. This was a very relaxing type of episode, nice and chill. Mm-hmm. Like it even started with a recap, which I mean, I have mixed feelings about a little bit, but it was, I think it served its point and purpose. And but like to expound upon what happens, in the episode, as such, Lloyd getting overworked. The moment he goes to like the train station to take his family to this aquarium. There's a note saying like you have to do another mission, and Lloyd is like, "Come on, y'all, let's stop this." Like, I was like, this is more important. I gotta spend time with the family. I gotta make sure we look good. And there was like,
you look good.
And they were like, "Nah, man." I was like, "You can't say no. You gotta do this." He's like, "I'm going to the aquarium," and they was like, "Aquarium, you say?" I can't believe you're such a prepared spy. Because the aquarium is in fact where this information is that, and Lloyd has to basically go and retrieve chemical weapon plans, I believe is what they said.
Yeah.
From the aquarium. Apparently they hid it inside a penguin.
It's kind of fucked up.
A penguin? I do not know. I mean, granted, we learned in the episode.
If you ask me, it's a good hiding spot. Still kind of fucked up. You do that penguin. Like
I just feel like,
but
well, I mean, I feel like the episode presented why it's a bad hiding spot. In the best way, because they were like, "Oh, there's 200 penguins at this park."
But they marked the penguin, which we found out later on in the episode. Though, see, they're not
did
dumb. They did mark the
it?
penguin. Yeah, they put a little red circle on his foot.
Oh, why don't I remember them saying that? I just watched this before doing this. I'm sorry, my memory is terrible. I did not remember them saying that. I just remember the way Lloyd found it was Anya pointed it out to him like, "Hey, that one looks sick," and it was coughing.
You know what? Also, before you go too far off that, is apparently Anya can fucking read the mind of animals. That's crazy.
If you could read the mind of humans, I wouldn't doubt that you could do animals. But
I'm just saying, but like the way they depicted it, the animals actually had, like real thoughts. Like one was like, I'm hungry. Other one was like, I want to play and stuff like this and stuff like that. So
do you think animals don't have thoughts?
No, of course they have thoughts. I'm just saying, like, we don't necessarily know how animal thoughts are compared to human thoughts.
Yeah, they
And
don't. We don't
so
know if they speak in English. If they think, well, if they think in English, I always, anytime, I've always like, what was it? When I was younger, I used to think I was like, if you know a different language, do you think in that language? Is that like the
of course,
language?
I would assume so. Yeah,
So I just used to think about that. Like, if you're bilingual, do you like dream in different languages
I'm
sometimes?
pretty sure
And
they
apparently,
do.
yeah. And apparently, yeah, that's true. It's very interesting. So
I'm pretty sure they do.
maybe animals do think in whatever language they hear the most. Like if Anya and them were. I mean, well, shit, technically, I was like, they heard Japanese, but obviously in the English dub, the penguin thoughts are going to be English. So,
But yeah, so I just wanted to bring that up because they also could be going to, well, I guess, well, no, she's, the way she said it as well, she always
it's
could
kind of
do this
hard.
because she mentioned that, reading animal thoughts is harder than the others. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe this is something she's, done before. But like I said, this just goes back to what I was saying, last episode. Maybe Anya's powers is actually getting stronger and stuff like that, the more she
Yeah.
uses them. So,
Yeah, because she didn't get lightheaded from it, and
yeah.
usually when she's doing something that takes extra effort, she does, especially relating to her Esper powers, she does get lightheaded.
Yeah. But push come to shove, they found the correct penguin due to, like you mentioned, due to Anya. Lloyd goes back and actually disguises himself as one of the.
Knocks a new guy, a guy just having to start today, knocks him out, puts him in a locker, and then has a perfect disguise already. Ladies and gentlemen, Lloyd is a shapeshifter. Confirmed,
something.
because there's no fucking way. There's absolutely no way.
Yes, he knocks out the new
I think
guy. Apparently, he memorized the name of 200 penguins and their fucking eating patterns and everything already. How did
in a
you
couple
do this in the
minutes.
span of a couple of minutes to an hour or so? But who knows? This man
Yeah,
is a genius, apparently. What school did he go to? That's what I want to know now. What school did this man go to?
Spy School, which if I'm not mistaken, is a manga / anime. Coming to a Crunchyroll near you.
Crunchyroll near you. I'm done. But yes, this man Lloyd has an impeccable memory and just an impeccable brain to memorize all that stuff that quickly, and he is truly a genius in disguise.
Yeah. So go through it. Lloyd gets the penguin, and then is approached by, I guess, the spy or someone from this country, is able to see through his disguise, and they have a little scuffle that's broken up when the guy who takes care of the penguin's chief, shows up and is like, "I thought you was taking this to the doctor," and Lloyd lost track of him. But Anya, lo and behold, Anya was tailing her father this whole time to the point where she catches the bad guy and screams out to Yor that she's been kidnapped, so that Yor can take out the guy by basically kicking him,
Kick the shit out that man,
kicking him in the head and lodging him in the ceiling.
And so that's basically the end of that. We don't really have to go through the end
normal
of
mom stuff,
the episode, because it's just normal family stuff that assumes for the rest of the episode. But so that's that. One thing that I did want to touch up on was Lloyd, how he's really trying to be a good dad, because at the beginning of this episode we saw how he was talking to one of his other spy friends or whatever, and he mentioned that he was smoking, and he started coughing when he was smoking, and the other guy, he was like, "Have you stopped smoking?" He was like, "Of course, I have a daughter now." And I just thought that was a nice heartwarming,
that was
touching moment. Like that was like, oh, this man really stopped smoking when he adopted Anya. That's wild. Like because he didn't have to do that, but him trying to fully enroll himself in the role of a dad, he decided to stop smoking, which is cool.
And I think stuff like that is what really, I think, besides just a good comedy, is another reason why Spy Family is super palatable to almost anybody. Like, a loving family is nice to see. Like, you don't get a lot of depictions of that in current media, unfortunately. So
yeah,
I feel like Spy Family, on top of being like a great comedy, is just a wholesome escape for a lot of people too. So
yeah,
that was good that we got to see that
as well. Anything else you want to touch upon before we move to our dislikes for this episode?
No, not really. It is sad to see it go, though. I will say that. Even though we know it's coming back later, it is. I'm going to download that ending song and have it on repeat for a minute.
Well, all right. Well, we'll talk about some of our dislikes for this episode 12. And other than that, this was just the last episode. I don't have any dislikes. Like you said, I'm sad to see it go, but we know what's coming back, and actually very soon, which is surprising. But no, I don't really have any dislikes other than this. This is something I'm gonna touch up on in every other episode as well that we're gonna talk about today. The pacing for this episode was very not very fast, but it was fast. Like we definitely went from point A to point B this episode.
It was quick. I don't necessarily dislike that. I will say that that does seem to be happening a lot more with this, but that just be because comedy stuff. If you're not following like a straight plot, will have like moments of skit type.
Skit type situations going on.
So like for this one
throughout the show,
yeah. So like for instance, I think this was one. You could say like the dodgeball thing was even one as well.
But see, that was like just one big ass skit episode though. So that it didn't feel like that was like the pacing of the episode was bad the way.
No, I just use that as an example because like technically it like while it I guess related to like it was related to Stella's, which is kind of like the overarching thing for Spy Family.
Yeah.
It still felt like kind of like side content, and the episode after it felt more like main, like Anya and her father trying to get Estella through like volunteering and stuff like that. So I didn't really have a dislike for this episode, other than like I said, the beginning is a slight recap of stuff we already know, which I feel like kind of took away from the episode, but it wasn't. I think it was more in service of the fact that like this is
the finale.
We're going on a break after this, so just in case y'all motherfuckers forgot,
they just had I was just about to say they just had to remind y'all what the fuck was going on. That we got a spy, we got an assassin, we got an Esper, all living together under one roof. They just had to remind y'all,
crazy times,
But moving on from there, let's talk about some of our favorite scenes from this episode. And definitely, like I said earlier, going to the aquarium is actually one of my favorite things I like to do when I'm on vacation and stuff like that. And surprisingly, penguins is actually one of my favorite animals. So it was nice to see the different animals, even not the different animals, the different penguins, especially the ones that look like the penguins from Surf's Up, the movie. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie before.
Oh yeah.
So we have a couple of penguins that look like that as well. So it's nice to. I enjoy seeing the penguins. Because as a child, I'm sorry to cut you off, but as a child, I always wanted a penguin as a pet when I was a child.
Oh,
I thought it would just be cool to have a penguin.
Just keep it in my bathtub. Yep. I was like, it's every kid's imagination situation if they had a penguin just in the bathtub.
Yep, just put him in the bathtub. Let him out and walk every now and then, but he lives in the bathtub.
I don't know how to clean him, take care of him, but
I know he eats fish. That's all I need to know.
I know he gonna be in a damn bathtub. No, it was I did like the aquarium scene. It was a nice wholesome moment. I just feel like before the mission started was just kind of cool. It's also funny because what was it? People Yor worked with, I think, showed up or something.
Well, no, those are his neighbors.
Tenants, okay.
And I think, and to be honest with you, I think they did this shit on purpose to pop up at the aquarium.
You're probably right.
Because they already had his suspicions of him. Then they walk out today. Before they left, they ran into him. They was like, we finna go have a nice time at the aquarium. And I can see it now in their mind. It was like, nah, let's kiss this motherfucking out loud. Let's go to the aquarium too, y'all.
Them nosy motherfuckers.
Kids, y'all want to go to the aquarium today?
Them nosy motherfuckers. I can't believe it.
You can't tell me they didn't do this shit on purpose.
That didn't even cross my mind. That was a good catch. For my favorite scene, or one of them, Lloyd trying to reject the extra mission and failing. That was hilarious because she came up with every excuse under the sun for him to be just playing with her, or that he was lying to other stuff, and then him just being like, "Look, I'm going to the aquarium," and she was like, "You've been messing with me this whole time. Of course you already prepared for this." He's just like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, no, that was hilarious. And then kind of thing I want to touch upon that was like connected to that scene, and I just thought it was funny or weird at the same time. So at the beginning of this show, when he went to the informant, like he handed her the bottle with like the little spy tag on it, which is kind of crazy. Like it was just sitting in the rack. So what happens if a random person comes and pick that one bottle up and take it to her? Like,
yeah, I didn't think about it in that moment. But now that you mentioned it, I think that is wild for them to put it on merchandise because
it was on display.
I would assume children, if not adults, would be like, "Give me that one. That looks interesting, right?" Like,
yeah.
there's I don't know if it's just like maybe they pass it off like, oh, it's a special souvenir that you can keep like if you buy this bottle, because it didn't seem like there was anything other than like their logo.
Yeah.
But it is odd for them to just have that on merchandise. I don't know if that's a good business. I don't know if that's a good spy model right there. Like unless they know when Lloyd is about to walk into that train station.
Then they just set it up for him. Yeah, unless they
Uh-huh.
know beforehand, like, hey, Lloyd's coming today. Let me go ahead and set this up.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know, because it also seems like they don't necessarily know when he's coming out of time, because like the second time he went, he just so happened to be he had to go
Hmm.
to the train to get to the aquarium. And he looked at the stand, was like, oh, there's another summit in. Let me go see what they're talking about.
Yeah. Like I don't know if if that's the route he takes for work. Like if he always has to check in on that spot because that's
Maybe
the
that
first
could be
time
the
we've
case as
seen.
well. Yeah,
That's the first time we've seen it in the. This is the first time we've seen like this exact location in the anime. I feel like,
yeah.
and so, my only problem is if I hope they're not keeping that shit out all day and that they have a certain meeting time. I hope that's the case.
Yeah.
Because that would just be wild.
I agree. That'd be wild. And
Did
then,
you
so
have?
yeah, I had one more. My last favorite scene, of course, is when your straight kicked the shit out of that man that they was chasing.
Yeah,
Like
no,
it was just
that was good.
hilarious.
That was good because especially how Anya was just like, I'm being kidnapped again. They're like, well, Anya learned, I guess, a valuable skill
If we
from the
need
last time.
if I need somebody taken out, just fake like I'm being
Just
kidnapped.
kidnapped, and my mom will handle the
The
problem.
rest, she will handle the rest. Oh man, yeah, it was just
Yeah, no,
hilarious.
yeah, that was funny. My last one is basically how this episode ended. Even though we didn't talk about it, so I'll just get into it now. Um, Anya was pretending to be a spy and almost tried to sneak into her father's room, and Lloyd had stopped her and gave her a firm talking to, basically, kind of yelled at her, and she was just so overwhelmed that she started crying and being like, "I hate you guys." She's gonna run away, and they were like, "Oh no, how do we stop this?" And they pretended to be her stuffed animals and took her out to get peanuts as those stuffed animals for her. And it was just like other people who saw them were like, "Oh, that look at that loving family right there."
Yeah,
And for me, I was just like, "That's a great scene to end to I feel like end this off on," because as I said before, the wholesomeness of Spy Family is another reason why people really like
yep.
this show. So
That's what we're here for. That's what it's all about. Well, since that was your last one, I think it's time to go ahead and rate the finale for the first core of Spy
mhm.
Family. And around 7 8 ballpark for me. Nothing too crazy didn't happen this episode, but I did enjoy it though. So I definitely, I'm just gonna say yeah, I'll give it a 7 in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I think it was above average, and I'm gonna give it a 7 as well. Like it was entertaining. I dare another anime to go to an aquarium and make it as entertaining as this, as wholesome as this. So I also have to agree on the 7 rating.
All right.
7. I can see someone being like 8 if they're just like I really enjoy the wholesomeness. Uh, but for me, it's probably a 7.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, it is now time to give our overall thoughts on the, well, not first season, but the first core of season 1 of Spy Family. To
Mm-hmm.
me, I think Spy Family is definitely one of the funniest shows I've seen in a while. Came out of nowhere. I knew nothing about Spy Family, until it got announced for this season. So I'm happy that I got to experience it, because honestly, I probably wouldn't have even watched it if I didn't get recommended it, if I wasn't doing this podcast. So I'm definitely glad I was able to discover it and pick it up, because I'm, like you said, every time I turn on Spy Family, I know I'm gonna have a good time. I know once I hit that play button, something enjoyable is gonna appear on my screen. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely had a good time with the first core of Spy Family. I'm definitely looking forward to the second core premiering in this fall stack season that we got. It's gonna be
Yeah.
crazy trying to keep up with all these different animes this fall,
Yeah.
but I'm definitely looking forward to the second core.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I definitely think Spy Family is probably one of the funniest series I've seen in a while. It's definitely one of the most wholesome, and has a very. I think the story serves itself very well as well. Even though, like we said, there are some times where it's not gonna focus on the main plot of Operation Strix, and we won't get everybody together. But I think each character stands on their own very well. Like I understand them and their motivations and why they're in this situation. As funny as it is, and as wild as it is, it just all works, and that's impressive within itself. Because I think I would think if you're writing this, it would be hard to not make this a serious type of action type of show. Like I felt like if I described this to anybody else and they did not already know about it, and I ended off with like, yeah, this show about an assassin, a spy, and a psychic all living together. It's a comedy and it's super wholesome. They'd be like, and it's an anime. It's not edgy. Are you sure it's not edgy?
Are you sure we're talking about the same thing here?
Yeah, that sounds like the perfect recipe for like a battle shonen type of situation
going on. Yeah,
it stays the slapstick comedy route and it does it very well.
My one wish for the second core of Spy Family is I hope we get to see some more of actually Yor's assassin missions in the second core, because we know she's been still going on missions because she'll mention it every now, in the episodes, like, oh man, the blood from this guy last night is still here, or I can't believe I killed that guy like that last night. I can't
all this, that, and the other,
all this, that, and the other. So we know she's still going on the missions and stuff like that. So I need more your lore in my life. What is this organization that she's an assassin for? What are they doing? Is their organization, whatever they're doing, is they going to tie into Operation Strix in one way or the other somehow? I just need more your lore in the second core, because we didn't get that much, but the shit we did get to see from your was always hilarious.
Yeah, and definitely like piqued interest and stuff like that. So I would also agree. I would love to see more your stuff.
Yeah,
moving forward.
But all right, so yes, once again, this was the finale of Spy Family of the first course. So let us know down below in the comments, what do you guys think overall for the first course Spy Family, and will you be watching the second course when it premieres this fall? And so with that being said, we're going to move on to our second anime review for today, everybody. Going on for Shield Hero season 2, and season 2, episode 12. And if you want to go ahead and give us a title real quick, Amelia.
Reason to Fight.
All right.
This is the title of this episode.
And surprisingly enough, this is not the finale for the Shield Hero. The finale for Shield Hero actually premieres next week on June 29th. So we still will be, I know we just announced, our coverage will be schedule will be changing, but we will be covering the finale of Shield Hero. We have no choice. We got to go ahead. We got to see it through, my boy. So we got to see it through. We will be covering the finale of Shield Hero.
A short little video. So just keep your eye out for it. We will definitely say when that's up.
Yep. But let's get into it. So this episode, not much happened, but a lot happened as well. One of the major things that definitely happened this episode was, of course, the battle between Larkin Gang and Nafumiya Gang against Kyo. So while Larkin Gang was handling the monsters from the wave, Nafumiya Gang actually infiltrated Kyo's base in order to, go take him down.
Which I definitely thought was interesting, because I thought what they were going to have to do is do an overwhelming force against Kyo, because it seemed like just based off what I know, it seemed like he had Kazuna's people, not Kazuna, I mean Kazuki's people with him. He was doing something to Kazuki. I mean, we found out later what it was, and just the wave stuff. I don't know if he was controlling the wave monster, so I thought they were gonna have to gang up and fight and Kyo, infiltrate his base.
Yeah, but I thought it was was gonna get something like that as well. But once again, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but the pacing for this episode was also kind of fast as well for this episode.
Yeah, it went by pretty quick, but it was entertaining. I'll say that at least. The fights weren't that dynamic, but they did, I felt like, served this purpose.
I guess, if you can say that. I will say, I do want to say this, and I'm going to go ahead and jump straight to this. Kyo's death was very anticlimactic for me.
Oh, okay, we're jumping straight there.
Jumping straight there.
Yeah, I'm gonna just time steps this in case you want to put the scene in. But yeah, I don't know what to make of why they did it like that. It was cool to see the beam clash and everything. It was cool. The setup, after the Rash shield and all that stuff, but it didn't feel like anything. Like it felt like the fact one Risha beat his like almost killed him herself
again,
and then she kind of like backed off and like Kyo and Naofumi do they beam clash. And I was just like, all right, I guess I don't know what the point of this was, but hey,
because he had to be the hero, not her.
Yeah. I
that
guess
was the purpose of what that was.
It was,
but yeah,
but it was definitely.
It was very, very anticlimactic for me.
Like, it was just like
the fight between
it was like they just did a thing.
The fight between Risha and Kyo was better than this fight that happened this episode.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And definitely. I just don't understand. Like they've been building this up for so long. I just don't understand how we went out this sad like this. But like because Kyo didn't do anything but that one big beam. He shot a few blasts at Risha, but she quickly stopped his ass again. And then he had that one beam struggle with Naofumi, and that was it. And I was just like, I was just so distraught. Like, is this it? Like, this is how he goes out? But one thing that I do want to point out, though, with Kyo's now dead. Mm-hmm. At the beginning of this episode, we started getting some flashbacks from both Kyo and Naofumi, in their previous worlds. And so it appears that Kyo actually got reincarnated into this world, because we saw in the flashbacks from the beginning of the episode that he used to be a gamer just like Naofumi, but his life started going to shit because people started hacking him and stuff like that. And he, from what it appears that they showed us, that he actually committed suicide.
I was not sure, but it was weird because I was like, he jumped from his window, but they never showed how big his building was. So I was like, was that a death? Like, was he just trying to get away? Was that him trying to kill himself? I was not sure. Well, but yeah, he probably, you might be correct. He probably did get reincarnated into this world. I definitely liked what they did at the beginning, because there's in writing for like villains and heroes, a good villain is always usually a foil to the hero, like the opposite. Like they have a common similarity, but they're usually the opposite. And it was good to see that Kyo and Naofumi had similarities, like they both like gaming. But the thing was, when Kyo played games, he did it to feel superior
to
and
other people,
to other, and like make him seem like he would stand out, like and rule over stuff like that. And now Fumi's goal when he gamed was just to relax, like he enjoy himself.
And then we also found out, now that you're bringing that up, Naofumi was also, when he was playing the games, he was basically a merchant as well. He sold items for most part of his time. He did also go on like dungeon raids and just stuff like that as well, but most of his time was spent actually selling items, which I thought was an interesting touch to his overall character.
I think it just shows that it's just another layer to show Naofumi wasn't really for like confrontational person, and like the stuff that happened when he first made it here really might have like changed. Yeah. Well, it didn't seem like it changed him that much, but it definitely had an effect on like who he was as a person. Mm-hmm. But he's still at his core just a good dude. Like he's just trying to get by.
Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. Now I have another topic I want to talk about. But before I do that, I want to give you a chance to talk about anything you wanted to talk about.
Let's get into the Kozuki stuff, I guess.
Okay.
Since we kind of jumped over that, because that's the only other major thing I feel like for this episode, depending on what you bring up. But so yeah, they Kyo resurrected Kozuki as a homunculus,
which we knew he wasn't going to come back as himself. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that one last episode.
I was like, I don't think he has that ability. That would be wild. And trapped his soul. So he trapped his soul in that mirror, right?
So the way they explained it, it was like Kozuki was already dead, and what he did was he trapped the soul of the mirror vessel weapon user inside of Kizuki's body. Why? I don't know. Like, did he have to trap his soul in Kizuki's body in order to make him do whatever he want him to do? Like, in order to actually fully control him? Like, they didn't explain that.
Okay, like, I wasn't sure if he said. I wasn't sure if it was someone else's soul or his soul. So thank you for clearing that up. But that was why that fight could have also been more, I felt like.
They ended that very quickly.
Ratalia beat his assistants who allowed themselves to be turned into Chimera. Fucking wild and idiotic. That is, I don't know why they was like cool with that. They also had a self-destruct sword, but now Fumi took care of basically that. They're still alive, but they had to re-kill Kozuki, and it didn't feel like it was as dynamic, I feel like, as it could have been, especially since Philo and Raph have to fight him. Yeah. But I do, it was entertaining at least. I felt like it was a little bit better than Naofumi's fight versus Kyo.
I
Like
agree.
they did a lot more with it. It just felt like, considering the fact they felt like they had to have Philo and Raph fight him, I just felt like there should have been more.
Yeah, and I guess on the bright side, those girls, even though they lost Kazuki, they did get a small little power up because I mean, technically they'll
One of
be
them looks
chimeras
like
for the rest of their lives.
one of them looks like half a tiger. I think she's going to regret that. I think she's going to regret that
But the
in jail
strength,
because she's
the power that she gets from being half a tiger, though. You gotta look at the bright side of things, okay? That's all I'm trying to say.
Guess.
That's all I'm trying to say. Yes, we may have lost Kazuki, but look at the cool powers we got, though.
Form of a tiger claw, I guess. I don't know.
But yeah. But one of the last things that I wanted to touch up on for this episode, I got two things actually. But a few episodes ago, we mentioned that actually the episode when he got the tortoise heart shield, I mentioned that, do you think, this is the end of the Wrath Shield? Are we never going to see it again? So I just want to reiterate my part of the story, if you will. Yes, the Wrath Shield is still here, or my part of the argument, whatever you want to call it. Yes, the Wrath Shield is still here. But as we saw this episode, Oz popped her ass back up again and told his ass, "You don't have to use this shit no more, my guy. I gave you the tortoise shield for a reason." So once again, this makes me think that the tortoise shield will be the replacement for the Wrath Shield, unless something just real crazy happens where he gets very angry again and just makes the Wrath Shield comes back out. Especially for the fact that now he knows that the dragon is basically trying to take over his goddamn body whenever he uses the Wrath Shield.
It's interesting. I thought for a second when he brought the Wrath Shield out that the dragon was going to be the dragon of this world. I thought that was going to be happening. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool twist, but it wasn't the thing of the day. But I'm not going to argue with you at this point. Like, this fully proves that that's most likely the case now. And also, I guess the beam can charge faster than what it did before now. It's because it almost seemed to launch instantly in the same type of velocity.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on how good now Fumi's feeling.
Yeah.
So
the Wrath Shield will only now come out, in my opinion, for very extreme circumstances.
Especially now that Fumi knows it's trying to fuck him over.
Yeah, it's basically, in my opinion, it's just be like a last resort thing. Like, I have no choice but to use the Wrath Shield because of what's going on right now. Mm-hmm. That I got to bring it back out. Like, that's what I see the Wrath Shield being now. It's basically just our last resort type thing going on now. So. Yeah, it looks like we're going to start seeing more of the Tortoise Heart Shield and hopefully start seeing more of what the Tortoise Heart Shield can do, because I hope that it's not just a damn being that it can do. I hope it can do more than that.
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, it came from a divine beast, so I would hope that it has more than just giant laser. Considering the spirit tortoise itself had more than just that.
That as well, yeah. And then the very last thing that I wanted to touch up on is so the way they did this episode, they made it seem like it was finale for whatever reason, but we know it's not a finale.
It didn't have an ending song. It's a finale, in my opinion. But hey.
But at the very end of that, the episode, Naofumi is, giving his last little spiel and whatnot. He mentioned that the next guardian beast that is going to awaken is the Phoenix. Beast.
And I don't know if he was saying like he's going to personally make sure that it awakens, or that he was going to look out for the fact that...
So my thing is, and I guess this also ties into like the thing that Kyo was saying in his death, because he mentioned like, you think you got it easy now, but you don't know like what's coming. Something along those lines. So those weren't his exact words, but something along those lines. So Kyo knows something else about the world that's going on that at least that the heroes don't know about. And I'm wondering, does that have to do with like these guardian beasts? Like, and if it is with the guardian beasts,
I mean,
why the hell are the guardian beasts, everyone besides the Phililo Queen, trying to destroy the goddamn world?
Yeah, that is a good question. Because, the guardian beasts, it seems like from Justice Spirit Tours, are supposed to be last resort options, and they weren't very well thought out last resort options, because it seems like it's either the waves destroy it or we destroy it. One of the goddamn two.
Pick one.
That's the options. So, and I'm thinking that they also might be tied to other worlds, considering the fact that like the dimensional wave thing that Kyo started and all that other stuff. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see when this show comes back, like how the Phoenix Divine Beast is all going to tie into this, if that's the route we're taking. But um, what do I want to say? Oh, an interesting thing that I think was kind of cool with the slideshow. At least there
No.
was. Did you notice they introduced a female character that I don't think we've seen before?
Yes, she was like fighting in some type of arena.
Rena?
Because it's
Yeah.
right when it was right when he mentioned the next Guardian Beast is going to awaken as the
It's gonna be
Phoenix, and they showed
Phoenix.
her
And I was
just fighting
like,
in the arena.
so
Yeah,
I'm like, maybe episode 13 will be about them meeting her or something, and maybe she has
maybe
some
yeah
ties to the
to the
Phoenix. But
Phoenix something. Yeah, could
it
be.
definitely, if Naofumi's not going after to destroy them, maybe he's trying to get the representatives like Os people on his side or something like that. So
Yeah,
basically, like if something like this ever happens again, he'll be ready.
for
He'll be ready to know what to do.
yeah.
Uh, you know.
I agree, but yeah, like I said, I just thought that was interesting. Like, just apparently, the Guardian Beast is going to plays more of a major role in this series than we initially thought, and they're gonna keep coming in. They didn't say this was the last Guardian Beast; they just said the next Guardian Beast. So there's
These
more. There's even more out there. So
Yeah, so it'll be we'll have to just see how this goes forward because I was just like, unless Akio sent another person to the world to fuck with the Guardian Beast, I'm not sure why we have to be concerned about the Phoenix. But if you mention it, big dog, I'll pay attention. I guess.
I guess we'll see what's going on. But yeah, so that was like all the major topics that I wanted to discuss for episode 12. Well, no, I had one more, and I'm gonna touch up on this real quick. We talked about it, but it does appear that Ratalia gets to keep her katana with her.
Oh yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you. I knew I forgot something. She's still the katana hero, I guess. But I'm wondering, does the sword still work like it would? Oh, well, never mind. I guess it would because Lark and Glass can use their stuff
Yeah,
without problem, and so did Kyo. Yeah, that's going to be interesting because I don't know. The slave seal doesn't work anymore, so I guess Reptalia is just going to be leveling up independently.
yeah.
Um,
I mean,
also,
they always leveled up independently. It's just it helped them level up
yeah,
faster.
but I thought that was because like now now some of now Fumi's XP from him
Went to them.
stuff was
Yeah.
going to them. Yeah, so what was I gonna say? But I did. Speaking of the slave stuff, though, I like how Kyo called him out on that shit. He was like, "You have friends. You call them friends, but you keep putting slave marks on them." I was like,
but in his defense, though, at the time he was not gonna put the slave crest on Ratelli. She was like, "No, I want this shit." So that one. The first time, yes,
I'm not.
But the second time, no, that was on her.
I'm not saying he's wrong. Like I totally understand why he did the things. It was just funny because I was like,
yeah, that he actually called him out on the end. No,
he got a point. This motherfucker is a bad person, but I mean He's not wrong now for me.
He might be spitting facts over there now for me. Like, no, I feel you on that, 100%. But that, like I said, but other than that, that was everything that I had to talk about. I just thought it was interesting that Ratelli do in fact used to keep her katana. I mean, I didn't think it was gonna give her an upgrade and take it away, but it's gonna be interesting to see if her taking it to the other world is gonna act any differently.
Yeah, it also would be interesting because now that Lark, Glass, and them seem to have a truce, how everything moving forward will be handled with the waves. Like,
I mean, it looks like more of a truce. Like they damn near friends at this point.
Well, yeah, I just said truce because last time they talked. Oh, excuse me. There was an agreement. It seemed like for them to try and find a different solution than them coming over and like trying to destroy
the world,
their world. So. I'm wondering, I guess, moving forward, will Lark and them still try and travel over to Naofumi's world, but this time try and help?
Because I mean, Kizuna already said she wants to see him again, so I'm pretty sure at some point throughout the series we will see these guys again. It's just under what circumstances is the question.
Yeah, so, but the future of Shield Hero is looking interesting. I don't know why this isn't the ending. I really don't. The way they set it up made it seem like this is a finale. I don't know
that they did. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But from the stuff I looked up on both Mal and just other stuff online, it's supposed to be 13 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So we got one more.
All right.
But moving over there, we're going to talk about some dislikes for this episode. And other than the thing that I already mentioned, just the pacing for this episode was definitely very fast. And I already talked about it, but just the battle with Kyo was very, very anticlimactic. I definitely dislike that. Like they could have handled that way better. Like how the hell you let the Risha fight be better than the final fight with him? I just
Yeah. All your dislikes are mine. I just put down like the fight went by really fast. Cause it did. Like I feel like for that to have been the main attraction of
yes,
this,
like
for you to start,
this was the we came over here for this motherfucker. This is the
yeah, for
main
you,
reason we over here.
yeah, and then for them to start with, like, oh, look how similar Naofumi and Kyo were in their like original lives or something like that, and then for it to end with just a beam and Kyo getting one last taunt
Like
off,
yeah, like yeah, they even did that cool ass flashback at the beginning of the episode, and it was just like they was just setting it up. Like all the setup was there, and it just let it down. They fumbled
it
on this
didn't.
final battle.
It did not deliver. It did not deliver. So yeah, that was my dislike as well. So
It did not deliver. I definitely am with you on that. So let's talk about some of our favorite scenes from this episode, and I'll let you go first, hey McMillian.
so favorite scene from this episode was the awakening of the Wrath Shield again. I like we had said, it's been a while since we've seen it like that, and it was just dope to see it again,
Yeah.
especially with all that happened,
Mhm.
like it trying to take him over, and then Risha having to bring him, like, calm him down, bring him back, and be like, "This isn't you." I mean, like she was like, "Hey, if that's what you think of me, I've been wondering that the whole time, but I know you're this. While this might be slight, like dark thoughts of me, that's not everything."
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree.
so
It definitely was cool to find out that the dragon was actually trying to take over his body, because now that adds an extra layer of um
risk
risk
to
to
that
using the
shield,
ref
yeah,
shield, because now it's no longer just destroying his body. Now it's also potential that he would just lose you know he would lose himself.
yeah, himself.
So
Yep.
the danger for using the ref shield has definitely raised now,
Hmm.
which is like I said, another reason why I don't think we'll ever see the ref shield again, unless it's like a last resort type of situation that he has to use
Yeah,
it for.
yeah, I agree, and hopefully it'll be more climactic than this.
But all right, so one of my favorite scenes is, and probably my only one, honestly, is on well the ref shield will too, so not my only one, but the flashback they did at the beginning of the episode. I just think that was cool because we did get more lore for both Nafumi and Kyo, but mainly just Nafumi. It was just cool to get the lore on some more lore on him as well, because we did not know what Nafumi did in his past life. Because episode one, it just starts off with him at the library picking up the book and we gone.
Hmm.
So it was cool to learn some more stuff about Nafumi this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, that I definitely agree. That was while that wasn't one of my favorite scenes, that I am glad that we got, those flashbacks. It was interesting because when we started, I was like, "Wait, what is this? Like, did they be back to episode one?" And then I saw, and then they did Kyo's thing, and I was like, "Oh, okay, all right, I like this.
Yeah.
I was like, I like this," and just for for the episode to start off so strong and then end like it did, that's crazy.
It is. Any more favorite
Uh,
scenes from you, McMillian?
No, that was that the I basically kind of only had one.
Yeah,
So
because the fight between Larkin gang or Kizuna and gang wasn't really that much.
they just showed that I think they showed Kizuna killing one person and Glass doing something. That was, and then them getting, and them like doing like the
I cheer
backs to each other
I
type
cheer for
thing.
Kazuna every time she can take out a monster. Come be like, you damn, at least you could do something.
Yeah, I just unfortunately can't hit people. So
At least you
yeah,
could do something. And yeah, then the fight between Raptalia and her group versus the Mirror Vessel user wasn't all that crazy either. But one thing
hmm
I will say that I found funny this episode is how they did a father son Kamehameha with the with the mirror weapon,
holy shit.
and then O's popped up as well.
You're right.
I just thought that
Oh
shit
my,
was hilarious.
I'm mad. I'm so mad that you said that shit. Because I don't want that to be I don't want them to be equivocated to each other, related at all.
But
you're
that's basically
100% right.
what happened.
That is basically
As
what happened.
Ose popped up, put her hand on put her hand on Foamy. The mirror vessel weapon came up out of nowhere. I'm pretty sure Ratalia brought it with her, but that came up out of nowhere. He was like, "Yeah, I'm here too, and I want to get my piece in and fight you as well." And so it was a father son Kamehameha. I can't.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no other way I can put it.
You're wild. You're wild for saying it. That is true.
Oh man, but yes, so that is all the favorite scenes that we had. So let's go ahead and rate this episode, and I damn near want to get this a 6.
Oh, I you know what? I same. I put it at a 7 because I do think maybe I'm leaning too much on like the overall arc because I thought this arc was interesting enough to deserve like a 7. But you're right, this episode really could have probably might be a low 7, high 6. Cause they did a lot of decent setup and then drop the ball
on everything. Like none of the fights this episode was compelling. Especially like I thought the saving grace was going to be the final battle between him and Kyo, but it wasn't. And so I can't save this episode. I can't.
Yeah. I want to. Because it was entertaining, but you're right. It's definitely not like that much of a 7. So yeah probably 6.
So I got to give it a 6. And with that being said, we're going to head to our last anime review that we have here for today.
Least.
But yes, certainly not least. The finale of season 1 of, oh my gosh, I'm being attacked. The finale of season 1 of the Tomodachi Game, episode 12. And title, please, sir.
What's most important to me is.
Here we go. And there was, the theme for today's episode or today's reviews is definitely fast-paced episodes because once again, this episode went by hella fast. Like
yeah,
like this was probably the fastest paced episode out of all 3 animes today.
And to be fair though, the game that they played was short. Like it wasn't long,
but
they definitely
went through it.
by.
Like, it was just. Like so, okay. So you know what? Let's just hop into it. So our boy Yuichi finally, pulls up to the warehouse where they're keeping Kokurogi at, and he explains the rules of the game once again to Yuichi. Basically, the week win. So basically, and it's actually very interesting. So basically, it was 3 rounds. Basically, it's just a game of who can take the most pain, really. But the thing was, the person who decides who takes what pain was Kokurogi. Like they made her make the decision. And whatever like pain they was doing for instance, one of them was pulling the fingernails off of them. If Kokurogi chose herself, she will only get 1 nail pulled off. But if she chose Yuichi he'll have all his nails picked off. But then also the twist was she only had 5 seconds to pick either her or Yuichi.
And if she couldn't make a decision,
pick Yuichi, pick one, it'll automatically go to Yuichi. Which was crazy.
It was. Like she is definitely not the type of person you want in that situation because she just started. She's the innocent character.
Yeah, like she couldn't handle it at all.
Yeah, she definitely couldn't handle it. But what I thought was interesting is that the guy was pretending to be Manabu and was pretending to like he worked for the organization, which I just thought I'm like, why do that? What do you gain? I wonder.
What do you gain from that? Yeah. So which makes me think that he had to like play the Tomodachi game at one point because how else would he know about the Tomodachi game and stuff like that?
Yeah. And how would him and his crew know? Like
my thing is I guess my next question would be he had to be some part of management maybe as well because now that I'm thinking about it, what other reason would he have to mess with Yuichi for this special round if he wasn't tied to the Tomodachi game in some
way, shape, or form. And they at least if not management, Shio's dad, because the only person Shio's dad is the only person he mentioned like this. I ain't got nothing else that's important to me really, and they wanted to test it. So yeah, it's interesting because I don't know the purpose for this group's existence other than like to put Yuichi out of commission so he doesn't get into the next Tomodachi game. But
which is interesting. We're going to talk. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up, but we're going to touch upon that later.
So let's continue through it. So they play the game. Yuichi basically ends up taking like all the punishments, every single one, because Kokurogi could not make a mind up. And even though like the last one they offered Kokurogi was probably like the least physical damage. It was going to do mental damage. I can't say that wasn't going to do nothing.
Emotional damage.
Yeah, it was going to hurt. It was going to hurt because they basically was like, hey girl, if you strip and just dance to us, y'all can go home. and she just couldn't. She couldn't decide, and Yuichi basically just had to decide for her, and he decided to take the punishment. Like she tried to do the nail one, but she couldn't make it all the way through it, and Yuichi had to take it. Like, shout out to Yuichi for being a trooper, because fuck, like I would have been out.
Like, this episode really proves, in my opinion, that Yuichi is really trying to like not go back to his former self and stay true to his friends.
Oh yeah. Because he let a little bit out today.
Yeah, he did. We're gonna get to that as well. But like, because if he did not care about Kokorogi at all, or if he didn't like have some like other maybe thing he trying to plot out, but if he did not care about Kokorogi at all, then he wouldn't took this punishment, all the things he did for her. Yeah, in my opinion. So that, it just really goes to show that he actually do care about his friends. Even though like he kind of claimed he didn't, but throughout these last few episodes, we see that he do actually care about his friends.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, definitely. I think this just goes to prove like more of Yuichi's character, that like he definitely had like a wild dark streak for a while, but at his core, the principle of friends are more important than anything seems to still be sticking with him. So the end,
No, you what you about to say?
I was about to say, so like we get to that, Yuichi survives all his punishments, but at the end, Yuichi is like, hold on now, I'm gonna get my lick back, and says, I'm gonna give you one opportunity. We're gonna play a game of rock paper scissors, and if you win,
rock paper fingers.
Excuse me. And if you win, you get 10 million. I think is what he said.
10 million yen. That's what he said.
10 million for me. And the old boy Yuichi explains the rules, and the rules are basically this: if they tie, there's no penalty. I'm gonna just start with that one because that was like the easiest to remember. If Yuichi loses, he has to pay 1 million. He has to pay 10 million yen to Kuroki, the guy who brought him there. And then to sweeten the pot, he even said 1 million to everybody, all of his gang members, and I don't even know how many of them people were there. But but if Kuroki loses, he has to he loses some fingers based on the if he throws out rock, paper, or scissors. If he throws out rock, since he threw out no digits get lost. If he throws out scissors, 2 of his fingers get lost. But if he throws out paper, all 5 of these got to go. So Kuroki at first, he was freaking out. He was like, "There's ain't no fucking way. Like, why do I have to?
What do I have to gain from this?
Exactly. What type of psychopathic shit? Because if it was me, hell no." But Yuichi smart. He kept egging him on. He's like, "Come on, man. Like, look at my hand."
Kept egging him on, and then that's when he brought in all his posse members, who was like, "Hey, if your man do this, I'll give you all you guys 1 million yen as well." And at that point, it was like he can't back out, because if he does back out, he seems like a bitch.
A punk. Yeah, and also just like Yuichi said, I got a messed up hand. I can only throw out paper or rock. Like,
now that entire time, I already knew what the setup was going to be.
Oh, 100%. I was like, I was like,
you have to be. If you fall for this, you are one dumb motherfucker.
Yes, because I was like, how the hell do you forget that this? You're looking at him. He got a working hand.
So that's basically how he ended up getting them, and he basically made him think that he couldn't throw rock and paper was his only route, and. He threw paper, Yuichi threw scissors, because, of course, he has another fucking hand, and he was going to take all 5 of his fingers. because
all 5 of his fingers. But at the same time that this happened, Kuroki was like, hell no, I ain't doing this shit. You tricked me. He tried to get his gang members to fuck him up. But administration came in, set that boy down, and was about to let Yuichi cut off his fingers, because they was like, "Oh, y'all had an agreement. Hey, we honor
listen, we honor agreements over here."
Exactly. Tomodachi Game was like, "We honor the agreements over here." So they told Yuichi, "Go ahead and do it." And Yuichi started playing the knife game with this man, and then passed out. But while he was, egging him on, he was Kuroki was like, "Yo, no." Yuichi offered. Basically said that if you switch with one of your people, I'll just cut off one finger of theirs and you can keep your rest of your stuff. And Kuroki started insulting his members like, "Come on, it's just one of y'all dumbasses not gonna do it. Like, come on, like y'all owe me, y'all subservient to me." And they all looking like,
"Nah, my guy,
I don't know this nigga." Whose man's this? Luckily enough, though, Yuichi passed out before he could do any damage. But that's quote unquote damage, because Kuroki later on realized that what Yuichi did was make him lose
which is
his
sad.
whole
I wanted to
friend
see him
group.
get his fingers cut off. I was sad when he passed
I
out.
thought when you said it was sad, I thought you was talking about it was sad that he lost his friends, but no, Alex wanted blood, and
You started this. You started this, and,
yeah, exactly.
we just gonna end it. You started this, and we just gonna end it, my friend. So
I totally get where you're coming
he
from.
got out scotch free, but not necessarily scotch free because the management picked his ass up. So ain't no telling what they gonna do to him.
Yeah.
So
he's detained. He's detained right now, and Yuichi's biggest fan, the black-haired one, was just like, "You dumb motherfucker!
basically.
You didn't realize what he was doing."
Yep. And so, of course, we got to end this season off with a big cliffhanger where our girl Maria was like, "Hey, it's time for the next game. You got to worry. I know you're worried about Yuichi, but y'all ain't worried about your other friend Shibe here."
The
murderer.
And confirming that we were correct, they made somehow made it so it seemed that Shibe killed his dad.
Yep.
But apparently, playing this game is going to put them 500 million yen in debt. Because apparently Shibe's dad had that much debt when he died, and Shibe unfortunately inherited it all. So we end off on the cliffhanger of Shinji and Kokurogi having to fill in this had to go because Yuichi's gone to the hospital or wherever the Tomodachi game people are taking him, and has to work out basically how to win this game itself. And if I'm not mistaken, the last game is called Guilt Ship Court.
Correct.
And that is where, and legitimately we end there. Like that's the last scene is the name of
the game. Yeah. So y'all boy Yuichi is out for the count for this games so it's just gonna be Tenji and Kokurogi playing this next game, which is gonna be interesting to see how they get through this one without Yuichi, because as we know, Yuichi was the mastermind behind all the first 3 games that they played to get past those rounds. So definitely going to be interesting to see how they get past game 4 without him, and what's going to be coming next. But one of the things that I did want to touch upon before we head to our other topics for this is Shiho is still missing.
Yep.
So
and they made sure to show a flash of her too when they were talking about everything. So I wonder if she'll make some type of grand entrance whenever the show comes back, which we don't know when. Unfortunately, that is. But they did make sure to show her like right before going to like the courtship thing, the guilt ship court. Jesus Christ! What is wrong with me? So I wonder, will she pop up and how she's handling, I guess, her the whole dealing with the Tomodachi game now? Because she seemed also like whenever she heard about like the money being found out or whatever, that she had some type of vendetta against.
Like I said, there's no way that her family is not tied to the Tomodachi game. There's no way, especially at least her dad now. Yeah,
at least we have confirmation on her father. We just don't know everything else
about her. Like I'm assuming that she's in on it as well, but like you said, we don't have confirmation. But that's my theory as well, because it ain't no way, in my opinion. But
there's something going on right with that. There's something going on with that character, and I cannot wait to see what that is. I really hope when it comes back, we get some more answers on that, because that's one of the most interesting parts about Tomodachi game is probably the mystery for Shio. So
and then I guess my last main question, because we got to get these out because it's the finale. Mm-hmm. Do you think Shibe did it? Do you think he killed his dad?
No, I don't think so. I think I don't think it was like flat out straight murder. I think maybe
it was more like an accident type situation.
Like maybe the Tomodachi game people were like someone breaking into the house and made it seem like that, and Shibe had to defend himself, and he stabbed his dad, and it was like he stabbed his father, and it's like, oh shit, I can't believe because when they showed him, he looked out of it, like he didn't even look like he was fully like there. There. So
I agree.
I'm pretty sure they made it in some way to where like he might have killed his dad, but it wasn't on purpose. It obviously was not on purpose. Like they orchestrated it so that happened.
That's what I'm going for as well. I think if it turns out that he did actually kill his dad, that it wasn't, like you said, on purpose. It was more of like
and orchestrated type thing.
maybe he played a special round of Tomodachi game. He had to kill his father or something like that, or it was more of an accident, and or maybe like just last possibility. He found out all this about all the stuff that his dad was doing, and maybe just in the moment he's just so mad that he just killed him. I don't know.
Hey, that could be a possibility. We won't know until it comes back, or we could read the manga. But I'm not doing it because I have hope that this anime will return.
Please, I mean, like I said before, there's no way you get a live action adaptation of this show and not bring back the anime as well. It's just no way. It's no
Yeah,
there has to be a
yeah.
season two. But that was everything that I had to discuss for the most part. I think, yeah.
hmm
So dislikes, time for dislikes for this episode,
I didn't.
and
I personally didn't really dislike anything about this episode other than the fact that it ended on a cliffhanger. Because
not
I just would prefer closure, but I know they're just like, hey, get excited because this shit gonna get crazy
yeah,
again.
like no, like we said last episode, we knew they was going to end us off on the cliffhanger, and lo and
Mm-hmm.
behold, here we are on the
Here we are.
cliffhanger. So I'm not even surprised that we got left off on the cliffhanger. Just from the type of show Tomodachi Game is,
Mm-hmm.
I already knew what was up. So
Yeah.
this doesn't surprise me at all. But
Mm-hmm.
like I said, other than the pacing of this show, I don't really have any this episode. I don't really have any dislikes for it. Like I said, I just think this episode went by hella fast.
Yeah.
But I mean, it served its purpose though. It definitely served its
Mm-hmm.
purpose though.
Yeah, it had a reason. I feel like it executed the time it did have well, but you could definitely tell like it did feel fast. Like it was just one thing after the
It was
other.
like, yep,
But
round one, round two, round three,
two, round
game's
three,
over, and then yep, oh
new
no,
game.
new game, that game's over.
So
So it was just
a lot happened. Yeah.
yeah.
So
But all right, so let's get to some of our favorite scenes here. And my favorite scene, at least one of them, is definitely when the Tomodachi game management pulled up on their ass and shut everything down. And then how old girl kicked the mess out of that big guy. He gave us his name, but I just can't remember his name. But she kicked the mess out of him. I knew she was finna fold him. As soon as she looked at him, I was like, she's
oh
finna
yeah,
fold the mess out of
100%.
him.
If look in video games, and I feel like in anime, it's a trope. If the person walking calmly is gonna win. If they're moving a millisecond, if they just look like they're leisurely strolling and it's a hostile situation, they're winning. They are beating the other person's ass. There's no question about it.
So yeah, I
So
just thought that was hilarious. Like I said, just as soon as she looked at him, I was like, yeah, she finna fold that man. And she basically
yeah,
did the same kick Yor did to old boy in this episode as
just
well.
it just instead to the face, it was to the nuts, which is arguably worse from a male perspective. So hey, that was a good scene. That wasn't one of my favorites, but I do like that you brought that up. Just you gave me a chance to talk about it. Another one, favorite scene of mine is when Yuichi got hit by the big guy. When he landed, he was like, "Oh, at least it wasn't as bad as the captain from the third game,"
Which is kind of fucked up.
which is crazy because that dude was huge.
He was fucking huge. Like almost like
so
we talking like rock huge here. Like
yeah.
my man had muscles.
And Yuichi took 2 body blows and a face blow, and he just ate that shit. And I'm like, oh
He
my
ate
god!
which makes me think like what in the world did Yuichi go through in his past life?
To
Like
take a hit from a man that size,
and just was like, yeah, that wasn't as bad as old boy. Like, excuse me. First of all, this man is like almost 2 times bigger than that guy, and that guy was big. Like,
mm-hmm.
the basketball leader, or not leader, the basketball team leader. Well, yeah, I guess you could say leader. Team leader was big as well. So like, you saying this guy was bigger than him? He's like, he ain't hit as hard as him. Like, oh my gosh, like you done been through the mud.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Did you have any other ones?
Crazy. Yeah, I have one more, but I'll let you go next.
Okay. So I only have one more as well. So the last one, for me was the way they depicted Yuichi taking like those 3 stabs to his hand. That was graphic, but like they didn't even without like showing him actually getting like his hand getting stabbed. The way they just the blood splatter, them shifting like the scene altogether.
I'm gonna be honest
that
with
was
you.
really good.
This episode was hard for me to watch, and I did like kind of skip through
Do
like
it.
the
Oh,
rounds a little
yeah.
bit.
That fingernail one almost got like I physically was holding my hand like
Yeah, and so I hit that 10 second skip a few times this episode. It was definitely a little hard to a little hard to
watch.
watch.
But I just liked the resolve, like it showed because like one like he walked like legitimately he said after he gave Kokorogi the option and stuff like that. And Kokorogi said you choose. He just stood up and was like
Let's get it done.
start.
Yeah, which once again just points to the fact that Yuichi does in fact care about his friends.
Mm-hmm.
To take 3 stabbings like that. Well, stabbings had all his fingernail pulled out, and he broke his finger in the previous game as
The
well.
game,
So
yeah,
I'm assuming this all happened to this one hand. So this is crazy. That he gonna, I
yep,
don't, that hand gonna take a little minute to get
yeah,
rehabilitated because
yeah,
that one hand been through it.
yeah. No, that's oof.
I'm
Could
done.
not be me.
Yeah. And then my last favorite scene is when at the end of the episode when our game master was in the car talking to Kuroki, is that his name?
Yeah, Kuroki.
Yeah, Kuroki. And she was mentioning how basically like um you think you won, but you really lost because the really Yuichi's intention was to basically break down everything you said you wasn't,
Mm-hmm.
saying that you wasn't, scared, that you wasn't, that you had friends and everything like that. You'll never turn on your friends, which in fact he proved you wrong on all 3 of those cases in this one game. Like crazy. Like Yuichi always we like he's a genius, but it's just like even with the I thought what was something so simple that he just wanted his revenge. Always, it had a
He
deeper
had an
meaning to
ulterior
it.
motive. Yep,
Yeah.
yeah, deeper meaning. It's the boy up there. It's crazy.
But
Um,
that was all that I had for favorite scenes. And
same.
now
So
it
we can
is
go.
finally time to rate the finale.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely not like a 9 or 10, but it's at least an 8 in my opinion. Like I said, this episode was very graphic to the point where I had to like skip a few seconds in this episode. And even though
Mm-hmm.
like that the pacing wasn't as great as I wanted it to be, I think it served its purpose. Like everything that happened in this episode definitely served its purpose. And we got to see Yuichi. We did get to see some of that dark side of Yuichi, like because had he not passed out, I 100% believe he was going to take that man
Take
fingers. Like
at least
there's no
one.
doubt in my mind that he was not going to take that man fingers.
At
So
least one. Yeah, no, I also agree that this is definitely like an 8. Like it was very entertaining. They got real graphic this episode. But like I feel like the way they showed it just further was like the art style of Tomodachi is very like psychological type of like intrigue and thriller based, and the way they use the torture definitely helped with that. And just to get to see Yuichi for once, like almost really give into that darkness that he talks about having all the time,
mhm.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Something I just realized that we forgot to mention as
Mhm.
well. Apparently, Yuichi has a darker secret than the murders.
Oh yeah,
That
apparently.
Kuroki used to threaten him with, and I don't understand how he knows that if they are not related to the Tomodachi
And
game
see,
at
I'm glad you
all.
brought that up as well because I was just finna say like Kokorogi has to be not Kokorogi, Kokoroki has
Mm-hmm.
to be tied to the Tomodachi game in some way. And like you said, you just mentioned like he knew about Yuichi's past. The only way he would know that if he was tied to the
To
Tomodachi game in
Tomodachi
some
game
way.
at some point, yeah,
Yeah.
at some point, shape, or form, there has to have been some
And then
like
also like what was the
deal with
point? What was
Tomodachi
his
game.
reasoning for doing this, little special round? Like what was the
Mm-hmm.
reason that he wanted to do this? Like it had to be some
Yeah,
type of deeper meaning behind it. Which okay, I remember what I wanted to talk about. Did he purposely do this to try and take Yuichi out of the next game? Like was that his mission?
I don't. I mean, I'm not 100% clear on that, but that could definitely be it. I mean, the administration definitely knows that he is not that this guy is special when it comes to like everything. So, and also he threatened them. So, who knows?
Yeah. Or
Who
is it the
knows?
case that it could be the case that like you mentioned earlier, like he may be working for Shiho's dad, and who knows, maybe Shiho's dad is like not necessarily working for the Tomodachi game. Maybe he could be an enemy of them for all we know. And he was like, "Hey, go handle that." He was talking shit. Go handle that. And it could have been a case like that as well.
Yeah,
They left us with a lot of questions this episode, like
yeah. A
because
lot to think on, a lot to speculate.
yes, because it's just no telling who. Kuroki is a side, who he's aligned with, rather not a side, or who he's aligned with. There's just no telling.
Yeah.
And will we ever see this man again?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. But yeah, so that's the end of that rating. And so now it's time for our overall thoughts on season 1 of the Tomodachi game. And once again, I just have to say, I am glad I got to experience this show. Is what once again, it's definitely my favorite show of the season. Unless I find something different while I'm, watching some more shows this spring for, a special. But other than that, so far, this is definitely my favorite show of the spring. And I'm glad I got to, experience it. And I can't wait for season 2. Hopefully they don't leave us
Mm-hmm.
hanging for a long time to announce season 2. Even if it's just like, hey, season 2 is coming. We ain't got no release date enough for you, but season 2 will happen. Like, just give
Yeah.
me something. Don't leave me hanging for a
Mm-hmm.
long time.
Yeah, Sam, I feel the same way because I do think this was like I'm not sure when I would have gotten to the show, but I'm definitely this is another one. Like, I'm glad I started doing this podcast for, and we just was like, this one has an interesting poster and an interesting description. Let's check it out.
Let's check it out.
It turned out to be a hit. Yeah.
It's always a good feeling where you just pick a random anime and it just turns out to be a fucking banger. Like,
yeah. It's great.
Like legit, me and McMillian knew nothing about this. We was trying to pick our 3 animes for the series, and Tomodachi Game was like one of the only other ones that just seemed interesting. So it was like, why not? We'll just give it a shot. And if it's not good, we'll just replace it with something else. But lo and behold, it just, like he said, it just turned out to be a banger. And damn, yeah. I'm glad I'm glad we picked it. Man, any final thoughts on Tomodachi Game?
Actually, overall, again, guys, I'm probably going to iterate this. Just please tell your friends to check it out if they haven't. Before this, before the summer, we got a little break. I think before like the summer stuff starts.
Yeah, by like a week
July
break. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, it's bingeable. Tell people about it if you're enjoying it, because I just feel like it deserves to be talked about more.
I agree as well. Anything from season 2, like your most season 2 wish list, if you will.
Shio's secret. I really want to know what's going on with her at this point. She's the most interesting thing in the show besides Yuichi himself, I feel like.
I agree 100%. You took the words right out of my mouth with that one. So, well, there's nothing else to say then about Tomodachi Game other than, like McMillian said, if you have not yet seen it, definitely go give it a watch. It is definitely a good one.
Encourage other people to watch it.
Encourage other people to watch it, yes, because it is definitely a sleeper hit, in my opinion. And like you said, it deserves to be talked about more. I know I sound like a broken record, but hey, I mean, it is what it is. Tomodachi Game is that good. And I'm I'm finna become what Tomodachi Game is finna become my VV, goddamn it. I'm finna start spreading the good word of Tomodachi Game.
Tomodachi Game.
Oh man. Yeah, so that was everything I had. So McMillian, you can go ahead and take us on out of here.
Yep. Before I do, I would just like to again reiterate, guys, we will be our schedule is going to become a little less frequent. So do try and watch our social media for when we will say something is out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just moving is hard. I'm moving, and where I'm moving to is far from where I am currently. So just bear with us. We will get back to our regular scheduled stuff, but we're going to try and release stuff when we can, just to make sure it's all good. So did you want to say something about it?
I was going to say something, but we got one more episode, so I'll just save it for then.
Okay, yeah. So just keep that in mind. And with all that said, guys, you can keep up with the council on our social media. That is at Gurren Otakus on Instagram, on Twitter, and at Gurren Otaku Council on everything else such as Instagram and Facebook. You can, for my audio only listeners, be sure to like and rate the episode. That really helps us get out there. For for the YouTube viewers, like, comment, subscribe, that whole jazz. It just helps the channel grow. And so just let us know what you think of the Spy Family ending and what you're hoping to see from the next cours for these animes coming out, and they left us with a lot to ponder, and I would definitely like to hear other people's opinions.
Correct.
With all that said, guys, this is I am going to say meeting adjourned. You guys go ahead and enjoy your beautiful summer that's about to come up. We know we will. So